Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
I'd like to correct the record here. It's 8:06. It's O'Connor and Company, and apparently Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, is not a man, or there's no evidence. She does have a hell of a right cross, though, as a video is going viral as we speak. Shows her, just sort of giving the open palm smack push shove to President Macron as the airplane door is opened, unbeknownst to them. The French press office, by the way, is saying it's playful couple teasing.
Oh, gross. Well, they are a pretty weird couple, so.
They didn't look like anybody was enjoying themselves there. It's we'll track that story for you, as only we know how, here on O'Connor and Company. And coming up, by the way, in no, we don't have anything coming. Well, I mean, we have us coming up. We don't have a guest. But we do have a guest right now, Julie, so let's get on our best behavior. She is a guest. She's also a friend of the program. Oftentimes you can hear her sitting in here as co-host on O'Connor and Company. Emily Domenech, she is joining up with the Travis Manion Foundation once again this Memorial Day, honoring the fallen at Arlington Cemetery. Emily, good morning, and thank you for devoting your Memorial Day again for this endeavor. Good to talk with you.
Good morning, Larry. It's so good to be here again.
And you're out there right now, yes?
So I'm not there yet, but we had volunteers in Arlington Cemetery on Saturday morning. We have to work out with Arlington when we're allowed to be there because they try to be sensitive to the Gold Star families who spend time in Arlington on Monday. But we actually also have volunteers in almost 60 cemeteries across the country this year, volunteering to go and visit graves, to take photos, to share the names of the fallen, and to share those photographs for family members and friends who can't be there themselves on this Memorial Day. So it's really incredible. From 2020, we've come a really long way.
That's amazing. I know that you had expanded to other military cemeteries across the country, but the fact that it's over 50 now. It's called the Honor Project, by the way. And just to remind everybody, Emily, you mentioned 2020 is when it started. Of course, everyone will remember that was right at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. There was so much unknown. But what, sadly, the beginning of the lockdown there in spring of 2020 meant that many people who wanted to travel and routinely travel to Washington, D.C. to honor their loved one couldn't do it. And so what did you do? What did you begin doing that sort of started this whole thing rolling?
Yeah, so in 2020, Arlington Cemetery was closed to anyone who did not have a family pass. So not only did you have family members who couldn't travel from across the country, but you also, if you go on Memorial Day, you typically see lots of people who are visiting their people they served with. So they're visiting their fallen buddies who they want to honor on Memorial Day, and none of those people were allowed in the cemetery at all during 2020. I have my grandfather is buried in Arlington Cemetery. He served in World War II, Vietnam, and Korea. I was going in to visit his grave, and on my way in, I realized the cemetery was basically empty. So I sent out a tweet, and I offered to visit family and friends of that had served and were buried in Arlington on behalf of people on Twitter. And truthfully, I thought I'd get 10 or 12 responses, and I'd be gone in an hour. But when I checked my phone, I had hundreds of responses, and by the end of the day, thousands of responses from across the country. So it was really clear that there was a need for this ability to recognize people who you couldn't visit. So I shared almost 100 pictures that first day, but it was really clear to me that we truthfully had so much more opportunity to do this in the future. And I'm so grateful to Ryan Manion and the Travis Manion Foundation for using their incredible network of volunteers to help to grow this project across the country.
Oh my gosh, Emily, that must have been such a long first day when you first started doing this.
It was. I was in the cemetery until they closed it and kicked me out. And I have to thank my parents for coming to help me near the end of the day, because I really did want to stay to visit as many graves as I could. Like you realized in the middle of the day that something important was happening, and I had an opportunity to serve so many people.
Emily, quickly, is this something that people can volunteer for to help on these days? I've got 3 teenage kids, so I'm very curious.
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's one of the things that I find so interesting about this project. we found as we scaled it up that it almost means as much to those volunteers who are looking to do something with their families, particularly people who frankly don't have any connection to the military but want to honor Memorial Day appropriately. They want it to be more than a barbecue. So yes, you can go to travismanion.org and click on the link for the Honor Project and sign up. And we hope, frankly, many of your listeners join us at Arlington and the cemeteries across the country next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a wonderful thing to do, year round, obviously, but specifically on Memorial Day. It really just brings us all together, I think. And it's a great way, as you said, Emily, to remind people and to spend time doing what Memorial Day is really all about. And then there's always time for barbecued ribs. That's actually my motto in life, is there's always time for barbecued ribs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always time to do both things.
Emily Domenech is our guest. She's working with the Travis Manion Foundation on the Honor Project, where she and a team of volunteers go to military cemeteries across the country, including Arlington right here in D.C., and take pictures of gravestones for those family members who can't make the trip. And you put a flag there, and everyone has you have a moment. I've seen videos of it, and it's lovely. Emily, what was the mood like this weekend at Arlington? How does it seem different at all? You had lovely weather, certainly.
It's always a serious experience. Section 60 at Arlington is where most of the global war on terror, Iraq and Afghanistan killed in action are buried. And if you go there on Memorial Day weekend, you will see families who camp out for the day around the gravestone of their loved one. So it's a place where you are serious. But, it's also, we had a huge crowd of volunteers who gathered outside of the cemetery who were excited to be there to learn about the fallen. And I think that really is the thing that separates this from so many other events that happen at Arlington where, you do Flags In or Wreath Across America, which are all wonderful events. But in this case, we really encourage our volunteers to read the name of the service member, to look up their story, to learn about how they served, about their families. I have graves that I go back to every year that I feel as though I know these people because I have visited them and read about them so many times. And we really want to have that connection of, someone that you don't know going to serve somebody to read a name of another person you don't know who died for this country. And it's a really special personal opportunity to connect with those who served.
That's it. That's the thing. It's the connection there that makes it so important. And it makes Memorial Day less of a intangible for those who, there are a lot of families, let's face it, it's 1% of our country right now serve in the military. There are many families who have nobody in this generation or the last two generations who served. But they served for you. They fell for you, and this is a great way to tangibly connect on Memorial Day. And Emily, it's great. I mean, a lot of people think that redheads have no redeeming value, but you're defying that stereotype, and I appreciate it.
Ridiculous.
We do, in fact, have souls, and I hope, frankly, that people do. It's all joking aside. I really do hope that people take the time to follow along today, even if you couldn't join us this Memorial Day.
Yes.
If you follow #The Honor Project on X, you can see I'll be sharing photographs from Arlington Cemetery today, and you can look at travismanion.org and see photos from across the country, and really just take a few minutes and read about someone and learn about their story and learn about why they served and how they served and their family and legacy that they left behind.
Yeah, retweet and follow and make sure that you push all of those out there so that it gets into other people's timelines and they can see, if they're out and they're not spending any time actually thinking about focusing on or reflecting on the sacrifice, even when they're scrolling their social media, suddenly they will. And that's a good thing for them and a good thing for the memory of the fallen. Emily, always great to talk to you, my friend. So proud of you.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to chat with y'all.
You bet. It's 8:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
It's graduation season, as you know, and if your child graduated from the Naval Academy, you got J.D. Vance, the vice president, to speak. If your child graduated from West Point, you got President Trump. If your child graduated from Wake Forest University, however, you got Scott Pelley, CBS News, 60 Minutes.
How mad would you be?
Oh, God. Well, no, on the face of it, it's like, oh, Scott Pelley, CBS News. Okay, well, great. So he's going to talk about, the government and politics and
Sweet
maybe
summer
the
child.
media or, some kind of, No, it was all politics all the time. And, well, one specific political. Wake Forest is in North Carolina, I believe, isn't it? Isn't Wake Forest in North Carolina, which is a pretty red state? I'm pretty sure the majority of the parents paying the tuition there at Wake Forest probably voted for Trump. So here's Scott Pelley dumping all over their vote and their children's graduation. Cut 21. Let's go.
But in this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you there, Scott. Apologize. I'm going to let you finish. But can I just point out, he's saying that the rule of law is under attack, journalism's under attack, universities under attack, freedom of speech is under attack. He is a journalist at a university giving a speech. Without anybody arresting him, so you're a journalist giving a speech at a university, and you're saying that universities' journalism and speech are under attack.
It's like it's a little bit similar to the Starbucks protesters. It's
yes,
like they're just so desperate to have an emergency in their lives, or to be important, or to be living in important times, and to rage against the machine. Like it's a little like that. These sort of make-believe, made-up issues.
I would like to just point out, though, the baristas actually have a little bit more depth than Scott Pelley. Go ahead, Scott. Finish your thought.
Is under attack, and insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak.
Wait, what?
He supports the party and the political ideology that literally wants to make praying illegal.
Right.
Invading your inner thoughts. Well, I'm sorry, it was Biden's FBI who arrested people for praying.
That's right.
All right, that's it. You know what? Let's cut to the he finishes with a real flourish here, and you got to hear it. It's got everything but the Broadway musical jazz hands. Go, Scott, you drama queen.
What is the meaning of life?
Oh, dear.
Who are you? You are the educated. You are the compassionate. You are the fierce defenders of democracy, the seekers of truth, the vanguard against ignorance. You are millions strong across our land.
You cry?
I might be sorry that you were picked by history for this role, but maybe that was the plan. Hard times are going to make you better and going to make you stronger. In a few minutes, when that diploma hits your hand, it's not a piece of paper we're giving you. We're handing you the baton. Run with it. Why am I here? I'm here today because I'm 50 years farther down the trail than you are. And I have doubled back this morning to tell you the one thing that I have learned from Volodymyr Zelensky, Nadia Murad, Sam Attar, and 1,000 others. In a moment like this, when our country is in peril, don't ask the meaning of life. Life is asking, what's the meaning of you?
Oh, no.
God, I can't believe
did
that.
ChatGPT write that for him?
Totally.
I mean,
he is literally 2 brain cells away from Joe Biden level.
No wonder nobody watches 60
nonsense.
Minutes anymore. They are out of time. I just, and by the way, just again, if your child just graduated college or high school, my youngest graduates high school this week, and I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. And listen, these are great rites of passage, and it's wonderful, and I'm proud of your kid, and I know you're proud of your kid. But to stand up there and act like they are a generation who is inheriting the most perilous, dangerous, they are the most pampered and generation with the most laid out for them in front of them, from technology to prosperity to to tell them that they're walking into this rife, horrific hellscape is frankly not fair to them.
Well, this is why you get Starbucks kids protesting about having to wear a black T-shirt while wearing a black T-shirt. This is why. They think like
Pelley
told me.
And that's the way it is. 8:24.
Coming up, we're going to replay some of the speech that J.D. Vance gave at the U.S. Naval Academy's graduation. What a great way to start your Memorial Day. Listen to our Vice President. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:37, O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in. Chris Plant Show coming up in 30 minutes. Hey, I'll be on Newsmax with Chris Plant later this evening on the Right Squad. If you care. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Do you care, Julie?
Good morning, of course.
Do you care deeply? All right, I'm glad you care. Thank you. This weekend was Memorial Day weekend. Of course, today is Memorial Day. And I hope that we've given you lots of different ideas about what you can do and to make sure that your kids recognize the importance of this day and this weekend in general. But my Memorial Day weekend was kicked off with a glorious event at the United States Naval Academy, as it was the commissioning of the class of 2025. We had 3 midshipmen that we're connected to. One went into naval aviation. The other 2 are both going into the Marine Corps.
Amazing.
Very exciting. One of them a Marine Corps aviator. The other one will be Marine Corps ground. And we're very excited for all of them. Class of 25 looked good. It was a real nice turnout at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. And, well, there was a junior enlisted Marine retired that addressed the throng. He's the first Marine to rise to the rank of Vice President of the United States. Of course, I'm talking about J.D. Vance. Let's take a little bit of the address. I think we want to start with cut 26, which is the meat of the speech that, yes, some would say it got political. Well, he is a politician, and his role as Vice President is to instill in these young officers, these O1s, exactly what kind of military they're inheriting and what the commander-in-chief and the chain of command expect of them and how they're going to be utilized. And I think all the moms and dads appreciated that, too. Cut 26.
The tens of thousands of warfighters who sacrifice precious time, energy, and in some cases their very lives in the line of duty. They are the ones who bore the costs of past failure. Our leaders abandoned clearly stated strategic goals for lofty, often incoherent abstractions. This is how, for example, we wound up chasing a $230 million pier in Gaza that worked for a grand total of 20 days while injuring over 60 American service members in the construction and maintenance of that pier. Our government took its eye off the ball of great power competition and preparing to take on a peer adversary. And instead, we devoted ourselves to sprawling, amorphous tasks like searching for new terrorists to take out while building up faraway regimes. Now, I want to be clear. The Trump administration has reversed course. No more undefined missions. No more open-ended conflicts. We're returning to a strategy grounded in realism and protecting our core national interests. Now, this doesn't mean that we ignore threats, but it means that we approach them with discipline, and that when we send you to war, we do it with a very specific set of goals in mind.
It sounds like a man whose boots were on the ground in Iraq during what was unfortunate long-term excursion that many people in retrospect now are rethinking in terms of not just the original goal, but certainly the long-term aspirations. That was actually, I think, a good thing to hear for the parents and for the midshipmen themselves.
Look, and that's part of the reason why you see this sort of split within the Republican Party, because for so long it really was nation building. It really was this idea of we are going to export America and the rest of the world is going to act just like America. And everybody wants that. And they all want to be just like America. So you have JD, the vice president, up there, a former military man, making sense up there. And that is going to spell, I mean, there's a lot of anger out there on the Republican side of having to shift.
Listen, it's one thing to go after enemies who mean us harm. That's the point. It's another thing to use the military to instill democratic values and a constitutional republic on countries whose civilizations have no interest in that or are not prepared for that sort of thing. President Trump, meanwhile, was Saturday at the military academy at West Point, cut 28.
Every cadet on the field before me should savor this morning, because this is a day that you will never, ever forget. In a few moments, you'll become graduates of the most elite and storied military academy in human history, and you will become officers in the greatest and most powerful army the world has ever known.
And his speech was very similar to J.D. Vance's, too. Clearly, the plan was, let's go out there and set our military strategy and priorities at these commencement addresses. A fine way to start off your Memorial Day weekend, that's for sure. If you didn't see the speeches, they're available on the White House's website and social media platforms. I assure you they're much better than the last time the vice president addressed the midshipmen graduating. It was Kamala Harris, and she joked about how all the women who are becoming Marines don't have to carry such heavy a pack anymore because they've got a lighter, higher tech satellite connection or something. I can't even remember, but I do remember talking to one of the young women who graduated as a Marine that year, and she said, "What the hell is that? I want the heavy pack. Give me the heavy pack."
Right.
It was not good. She wasn't back again. It's 8, and she won't be, at least for the next 4 years. It's 8:43.
WMAL, making sense of mainstream media, because the double standard is real. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
It was sadly a deadly weekend this weekend in the war between Russia and Ukraine, and it appears as though President Trump is, frustrated, to say the least, with Vladimir Putin. He put a post up on social media. "I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy," in all caps, needlessly killing a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it, and maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would never have started if I were president. This is Zelensky's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have started through gross incompetence and hatred. He was also stopped on the tarmac as Air Force One, I believe, was in New Jersey. Here is President Trump, cut 29.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
All right, so we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, I do like when he says, "I'm not going to tell you." What are you, fake news? Like, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah. Meanwhile, he put out one of his famous Memorial Day posts. Would you like me to read it to you?
Sure.
Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only well, I think you get the picture. I'll just start with Happy Memorial Day to all, and I will leave it at that. Please, everyone, take some time to reflect on the reality of what Memorial Day is really all about. And thanks for being part of our live morning show. Thanks, Julie.